As a UCL review show on the Almeida channel, my name is Josiah Okokwe. Shocking results recorded from the playoff round in the UEFA Champions League. International, two-time champions of the UCL are out after losing to Norwegian side Bodo Glimt. Not just that, but then Newcastle also into the round of 16. So as we speak, there are 6 reps from England in the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League. Other teams that advance are Atletico Madrid. They also beat Club Brugge of Belgium 7-4 in aggregate, and then also Leverkusen at the Bay Arena. They managed a 0-0 draw against Olympiacos, but then advanced 2-0 on aggregate. Then Real Madrid, they also ensured that they'll be cruising towards another historic title in the competition when they dispatched Jose Mourinho's Benfica by 3-1. So today we're here to preview all the games played, in the second leg of the playoff round of the UEFA Champions League. Don't forget, as always, just 3 things to do. Just like, subscribe, and then comment. We would always be glad to read your comments in the comment section. I have here with me 2 gentlemen, fine gentlemen, in-depth knowledge as far as the UCL is concerned, a top-notch courage, and then also force. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Josiah.
In the history of the UEFA Champions League, first, let me begin with you. Would you say Bodo Glimt beating Inter Milan? You predicted that game would have been dicey. I don't know what you saw, your projections, what you saw, if it was spiritual, but do you think this is one of the biggest upsets we've seen? Yeah, in recent times, we saw Sheriff Tiraspol beating Real Madrid. We've seen quite a couple. But do you think this one is up there as far as upsets in the Champions League is concerned?
Of course, it is consistent with what we have come to see the Champions League for. Proud to the second leg, I thought that Inter Milan at the what's the name in Italy has a very good chance of qualifying. Because if you look at the way they played in Norway, it was poor, it was shambolic. I don't know whether it was because of the AstroTurf. You understand? So I did predict, based on all the variables that coming to what's the name the home turf of Inter Milan.
The Giuseppe
Meazza, they should have enough firepower for them to overturn the first leg results, but it didn't come to pass. And what was quite shocking and quite annoying was the fact that the players did not put up a fight. You understand? I mean, you can go out there and then lose, but the players should show commitment. The players should show work. The players should show ethic. The players should show positiveness. You understand? But it seemed as if they were already foregone. It seems as if they had already, down the tools. Because if you look at the way Manuel Akanji lost possession of the ball, that led to the first goal. I thought that at the highest level, having played for Man City continuously, you understand? I mean, having been transferred to Inter Milan, having played, been categorized as a senior player, as a senior defender, for him to have committed such an error, is not magnanimous. It is stupidity at the highest level. And you see, that error deflected any idea of their coming to the game, because you see, going down by 3-1 in Norway it's a big job already in itself. You understand? And then they get an away goal, even though we don't have an away goal no more. They get another goal, which means that an added layer of pressure is now added to what you have to do. So I wasn't really. I would say that Inter has been one of the poorest, in this Champions League phase, because looking at the fact that over the past 5 years they've been to the finals twice. I was expecting that Bodo Glimt shouldn't have been a problem at all. Notwithstanding the fact that they have played well this season, But you also have to take cognizance of the fact that if you go to the Norway league, they are not the topmost team over the year. I mean, they are second on the league. But you also look in hindsight that they had beaten Atletico Madrid, they had beaten Man City, But for them to go to the Giuseppe Meazza and then do the double over Inter Milan, to me, I would say that is the most shocking, the most surprising, of results, because this is. If you can beat Bodo Glimt, then imagine if you had been paired against PSG. Imagine if you had been paired against Madrid. Imagine if you had been paired against any of the big clubs out there. So it just tells you the state of Italian football in general, because you realize that it is only Atalanta who is left in the draw as we speak. So it is an indictment not only on Inter Milan as a club, but on Italian football as a whole, compared to the fact that the English team still have about 5 representatives in the league.
Interesting. They became the first Norwegian team in 26 years to make it to the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League. You compare the UEFA Champions League 26 years ago to now, the competition itself, the competitiveness of the competition has really, risen exponentially. But Courage, you are looking at this game and you think it's the most shocking result you've seen in the last 5 years in the UCL.
No disrespect to the Norwegian football in general, but then who would have thought a team from Norway will come all the way to
5-2?
Yes, will come all the way to Giuseppe Meazza or Inter Milan, beat them home and away. This is something nobody, I don't think any connoisseur expected or anybody tipped Bodo Glimt for winning against Inter Milan. But then, hey, that's football, it happens. And then I wasn't too surprised looking at what we saw in the first leg encounter, because Bodo Glimt were top of their game. They did very, very, very well. Their composure was top notch. Their tactical display was very, very high. And the players were also very, very cautious. You see, they didn't receive unnecessary cards. What I realized in this particular phase of the tournament, or this home and away round 16 games, is most of the teams were lost in action.
Yeah.
They threw away their disciplinary level. Like, it was very, very down. It was so low to the extent that we recorded about 6 red cards in home and away fixture of this particular phase. So there's something Bodo Glimt didn't give a chance at all. They came all indisciplined, very, very determined, right from the kickstart of the first leg. And then I wasn't also surprised seeing them win again in Giuseppe Meazza, because a player like Akanji and co-players who have seen it all in the European scene, won the title and stuff, I didn't expect them to make such primary errors or such child's play, you see. And then also, they were losing a player like Lautaro Martinez, but if you are playing against, this is Champions League, and then most teams want to be drilled or drawn against relatively lesser clubs. So if you are a certain Inter Milan, a certain powerhouse who have won the Champions League twice, and then you are coming up against Bodo Glimt, you should be rejoicing and be happy, because you don't want to play against a certain PSG, Real Madrid, or even Benfica. So if you get drawn against Bodo Glimt and then you fluff it, I don't think it's something that the people of Italy will be very, very pleased or proud about. And then this tells you the level of standards the Italian football has dropped, because over the past years it's been difficult seeing them excel in UEFA Champions League, Europa League, and then other tournaments. So they had one opportunity again to show to the world or to display their best teams in Europe, but then here we are with most of the teams sailing through, and then also some also bowing out of the competition. So it's a disappointment on the part of the Inter Milan team, and then kudos, and then well-deserved lead or win, and then also going into the second round, the next round, which is the quarterfinal for Bodo Glimt, because prior to this match, they had already beaten a certain Atletico Madrid and then Manchester City. So it wasn't more like a fluke, but then though we thought maybe those matches were less prioritized by those teams, because they were all happening in the group stage. So this one was the most toughest one, but then they still found their way to bypass this stage, and then kudos to them. There will be very, very, very good seeing a Norwegian team or an odd team in quotations in the next phase of the competition.
If we are comparing the squad, I'm looking at the wage bill of Bodo Glimt. 176,000 euros, approximately 153,000 pounds a week. That's for the entire team. Can you compare that to any team in Europe?
You see, even before you put in the wage structure, you understand, let's look at both teams in terms of their annual, you understand, income. Even if we have to do that,
with a home grounds of I think a capacity of 8,200.
8,200 compared to
the Giuseppe Meazza, that's over 70,000. Yeah,
and you juxtapose the annual income of Inter Milan, which is close to 600 million, euros, to 80 million euros for Bodo Glimt, and to the extent that just a couple of years ago, Bodo Glimt were fighting in the second division of the Norwegian pyramid. For them to have come this far, and you see, we also have to put into perspective that a couple of seasons ago, when Jose Mourinho was the gaffer for Tottenham, Bodo Glimt had beaten them home and away.
Yeah,
you understand. So it just tells you that it is no fluke them beating Inter Milan.
Does it boil down to the tactical acumen of the head coach?
No, this is not about tactics. You see, I have always indicated that there are certain matches you don't need tactics. You understand? Because the quality alone should be.
Do they have that quality?
No, you see, Inter Milan are top of the Italian Serie A.
Yeah.
No, notwithstanding the fact that it is not what it used to be. You understand? I mean, if you are Inter Milan with the likes of what's the name?
Lautaro Martinez,
Akanji,
Jan Soma.
Don't forget, Akanji had won the Champions League at Man City.
He's won the quadruple before.
You understand? He's won the quadruple.
And then he was an integral member, not just a squad player.
Yeah, because he was starting. He was starting that final. So you see, that is the level of eliteness that they have in the Inter Milan squad. For them to not be able to overturn a 3-1 deficit. You see, even if they had not been able to overturn the deficit in the first 90 minutes, and then they had been beaten in extra time or on penalties, that would have been a bit acceptable. You understand? But for them to have been woefully inadequate to even, you understand? I mean, get a win in Italy is very telling.
Yeah.
So it just boils down. You know, we expect one way or the other some upsets in the Champions League, you understand? But not necessarily on occasion like this, where you know that a win is going to take you to the
next round,
to the what's the name?
Round of 16.
To the round of 16.
Yeah.
You understand? And you see, it is going to affect Inter Milan next season because they're not going to get extra Champions League money. And that is where a lot of money comes from, because TV rights, sponsorship deals and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, it's not only going to be telling on their finances, but also on their ability to attract quality players. Because you see, players want to play in the Champions League and then have a decent chance of winning it. And if you're not able to consistently vie for the Champions League finals, then it's going to be difficult for you to attract the best of players to your team. And that is one thing that the Italians, you see, we have to be circumspect about this. You understand? I mean, when was the last time AC Milan or Juventus, you understand, made an impact in the Champions League? So it is not something that is synonymous to Inter Milan alone. It is something that is synonymous to the Italian league. Yeah. You see, because if you look at what the Spanish league and even the English league is doing, right? Because consistently you see two, three things from the EPL in the quarters, in the semis of the Champions League, and this is what used to be done in the Italian Serie A, where you have Juventus, Inter Milan, AC Milan going far in the Champions League. Sure. Over the past decade or 15 years, at most you see one in the latter stages of the Champions League. And don't forget that by 2002, the second most successful team in the Champions League was AC Milan, with seven trophies. As I speak with you, that time Madrid had 9 trophies. As I speak to you right now, Madrid has 15 trophies, and AC Milan is stuck on 7. So it just tells you that the distance between the Italian Serie A and the other major European.
I'm sure the Italian FA will be worried about this, looking at the fact that no Italian team has won the Champions League since 2010, when Inter did it.
Yes, that's
under Jose Mourinho. But let's look at one other game that
No, but like you actually indicated right now, it's affecting the national team.
Yeah, it's not allowing them to. And guess what? It was Norway that actually beat Italy to deny them the chance of qualifying to the World Cup. And there's another Norwegian team that has just beaten an Italian team to deny them from qualifying to the round of 16.
And if they're not able to qualify for the for the World Cup, it's going to be three consecutive times that
2018, 2022, 2026. Let's move on. One of the games that actually was marred by a lot of controversies, which, as I speak to you, hasn't been settled because UEFA has done some 1 or 2 checks, but I think investigations are still ongoing. Was that game at the Estadio da Luz, where the return leg happened at the Santiago Bernabeu? Real Madrid, they managed to beat Benfica by 2-1. Yeah, obviously they had more quality. Jose Mourinho wasn't in the dugout. It was Joao Chalao, if I should say it or put it, the assistant head coach who was in charge of that game. But would you say, Courage, would you say it was deserved of Real Madrid to just topple Benfica and go through?
For the fact that they even won on both occasions, home and away, shows clearly how dominant Real Madrid are, especially in the Champions League, because there's no fluke. A team winning it for 15 times as against the second place who is on 7th. You see, so that means they are that very, very hard nut to crack. But then one thing about this particular game, it was supposed to be Vinicius Junior's game, like both home and away. Look at the goal he
scored in both legs.
Yes, but then unfortunately or fortunately, he has become the villain instead. People are not appreciating him. Then he repeated.
You think the issue had took any toll on him? The issue about racism, where is his word against Cristiani's word? Like, you think?
This is something that has happened for so many years and it keeps happening, especially around one certain player, Vinicius Junior. I don't know. In recent years, he has been a topic of racism, and I think he had a chance. Like, he's always gotten the chance to at least like put a deaf ear or blind eye to that particular scene. But then anytime it comes up, it happens to be that he's not able to bypass it intelligently. Because I've seen it. I watched the match where Dani Alves was in a game, and then the fans, or I don't know wherever the banana came from. Yes,
the banana. Yeah.
He picked it up and then it's like you end up shaming the person who even threw the banana. It will never happen again because they knew it has nothing to do on you. But then if you keep giving in, I don't know if he lacks emotional intelligence or something, but then you always play a victim card. It will keep happening. And then guess what? He scored today and then repeated the same thing that he did in the first leg that brought about.
It was needless for him to have celebrated that way.
That's very childish. Anytime you do that, it ends up in a certain way. So you just avoid it. There are numerous of celebrations that players do. Knee slide, anything at all. You can't even decide to take off your shirt. Nobody cares. You're putting your team in a lead and then you are glancing through to the next phase. So what's this drama of dancing and stuff? So he ended up in the first and the second leg taking away the major headline, which is supposed to be about his goal and his general play, to off the pitch occurrence. You see, which is, I think he did himself a bad PR in that way. Because if you go, we are going to see fans abusing him instead of Vinicius Junior's world-class goals.
Exactly.
But then focusing on the game itself, Real Madrid has too much quality above Benfica. Because I was watching the game and then I saw what Carreras was doing. It was like a player a year ago was playing for Benfica.
Yeah,
so if Real Madrid can enter into your club and then pick up the best player and then coming up against him,
there's no way.
It's just like a mismatch.
First, let me bring you in. Real Madrid 3-1 aggregate, win over Benfica to advance. 15-time champions. They say it's their birthright. Last season, at the same stage, it was Manchester City they had to beat. This time, it wasn't Manchester City. It was a coach or a team that's been led by former coach Jose Mourinho. With all the controversies, I think they had to put that behind them, and Vini still scored.
Yeah, but I want to disagree with Courage. You understand what I mean? Brazilians are generally flamboyant people. You get a point. And dancing samba after scoring a beautiful goal is allowed. You get a point. You see, if Vinicius Junior has held insult to the fans, that would have been a different conversation altogether. But he did not make any gestures.
It is alleged.
Dancing is also a gesture, isn't it? Dancing is a gesture.
He did not make any offensive gestures.
It is alleged. They are still searching into it.
He did not make any offensive gestures.
He traded insult with the other player.
Cristiani.
He did not make any offensive gestures towards the supporters. That is what necessitated Cristiani confronting him. Are you get to the point? Because if I have scored a goal and I am celebrating by dancing samba, on what basis do you, a player of the opposition, come and confront me for celebrating? That is where the problem is. Let's not even talk about that, because I think that is one of the worst players I have seen in my entire punditry as a football analyst. We on any day, there's no way that there's going to be comparative analysis between Benfica and Real Madrid on any day.
It's a non-starter.
It's a non-starter. So if somebody's playing for Real Madrid, and you see, a million times Vinicius Junior is better than every single player in that Benfica squad, and nobody can make an argument about that. But on the day, I will say that Real Madrid did do the business. The business is not to score a million goals. The business is to win and then qualify to the next stage. Even in the first place, Madrid should not have seen themselves in the qualification stage, because they automatically should have qualified. But for them to have gone against Benfica in this stage, that tells you that they haven't been good in the league phase. But the most important thing is that they now see themselves in the round of 16. So to me, I would say that the job has been done, and to me, that is the most important thing. And notwithstanding the fact that they are without Kylian Mbappe, who is practically one of their best players on the pitch. If on a good day, he's going to get you a lot of goals. So I would say that the most important thing is that they've gotten the job done. And you see, confidence is coming back again because a couple of months ago, Vinicius Junior was not doing well under what was the name?
Abdeloa.
Their previous coach,
Xabi Alonso.
Xabi Alonso. Yeah, and you see, there were a lot of wranglings in that Real Madrid setup where the coach there was a power play between the players and the gaffer. But you see, as a coach, you need to understand where your power ends. There are some players who have much more authority and power than you in certain clubs. You understand? And if you go to this Real Madrid setup, you can't tell me that the coach is going to be more powerful than Courtois. It's not possible. You're not going to tell me that the coach is going to be more powerful than Kylian Mbappe. You can't tell me that the coach is going to be more powerful than Vinicius Junior. And these are the egos in the team, and you just have to know how to massage these three egos, and that is exactly what Xabi Alonso was not able to do. So I would say that yes, the most important thing is getting the job done, and the players are not happy playing for the coach.
Defending champions Paris Saint-Germain, they also cruised through to the last 16. Similarly, last year we saw them there against a Ligue 1 side, Brest. They managed to topple them. This time it was Monaco, 5-4 aggregate after the game at the Parc des Princes, and the 2-2. Impressed with them?
I'm not impressed with PSG. I've not been impressed with them, over the past couple of weeks. Not necessarily because they're not they're getting results, but the competitiveness of the Ligue 1 doesn't really make it viable for you to really compare them to the other European clubs. You understand? Until they come to Europe where they pitch their might against the big boys, then you can comparatively analyze their strength against the other clubs. But if you compare them to the rest of the teams in Ligue 1, it is almost as if you are comparing Madrid to teams in the Alba Celeste, the Segunda division in Spain. So I wouldn't. It wasn't surprising for me to see what's the name PSG qualify. It would have been news if Monaco had beaten them. Do you understand? So it is normal for them to have qualified, but the real work starts from here. You understand? Because they are now going to be facing the big boys in the EPL, the Spanish La Liga, and then probably what's the name, Bayern in the German. So this is where you would be able to effectively measure your footballing ability. This is where you'll be able to gauge how good you are as a team. And then see, I wouldn't be surprised if they get knocked out in the round of 16. You understand? Because
I think so. PSG could end up being knocked out.
Oh yeah. Because you see, one thing I realize about this PSG squad is the fact that they don't have that hunger like they had last season. You understand? Because last season, if you see them play last season, you'll be in love with them.
So they play either Barcelona or Chelsea.
They play either Barcelona or Chelsea. And you see, it's going to be a very, very tough fixture, because don't forget, Chelsea had beaten them already in the Club World Cup. By 3 goals to 0. So it's going to be a daunting score. Notwithstanding the fact that Chelsea has made do with their former coach, and then they have Rezunier now.
Sure.
But I do believe that any time that Chelsea plays against PSG, it's a match that you cannot really call. It's most often a 50-50 affair. But against Barcelona, we all know what happened a couple of years ago.
Interesting. Atletico Madrid, quickly, it was never in doubt that they would definitely put Club Brugge to the sword.
Yes, Club Brugge, I think they did themselves harm in the first leg where they couldn't beat them, Atletico Madrid, in their own backyard back in Belgium. So coming to the Wanda Metropolitano, I knew it was going to be a very difficult task for them, because they have Atletico Madrid has the firepower. You mentioned players like Laurent who can score at any given time or chance. I had a player like Julian who can also score, and then Griezmann came from the bench to score, and then El Cholo on the bench making gestures, and then the hunger of him. He's been down for some time now. I think the last time they advanced to the quarters or semis was, I think, 4 years ago. We've not seen Atletico Madrid at their very best of form in recent years. So, and then that cannot be said about Club Brugge, because their best has always been qualifying from the group stage. They've never gone to a stage like the quarterfinal. But then if Atletico Madrid are able to advance always to the quarters or semis, meaning that relatively, if you want to compare the two, Atletico Madrid will always be ahead of Club Brugge. So it wasn't a surprise for me at all.
That wasn't really surprising to you. But we've spoken about downgrade, of the Italian clubs competing in Europe, especially in the UEFA Champions League, where it looks like their performances keep taking a nose dive. Inter Milan out, Galatasaray also managing to beat Juventus 7-5 on aggregate force to advance in a game where you are thinking, Juventus had everything to just win, especially going down, a man down, and managing to equalize on aggregate 5-5. Then in extra time, they lose or they concede 2 more goals to lose 7-5 on aggregate. You'd say Galatasaray from the onset just showed so much hunger to go through.
Prior to this match, I had indicated that Juventus would not be able to qualify. You understand? Because for Gala to have taken a five goal lead, it's going to be very, very impossible for anything to come back from that. But you see, kudos to Juventus, because for them to have gone a man down and still taking the match to extra time, that deserves a lot of recommendation. And I can say confidently that if Juventus were in what's the name, a man-to-man 11-11, Juventus would have been able to overturn the tide. Because if you look at the match they've been able to, especially in the second half of the return leg, they've been very, very good. They've been on the front foot. They were attacking Galatasaray relentlessly, and that's why they were able to get. When they got a second goal, I told you that it's now going to be easier for them to get another goal, because the momentum is now shifting onto their side. And notwithstanding the fact that they have a man down, they were able to get a third goal, forcing extra time. But you see, it is not surprising, because when they go to extra time, another 30 minutes, and with 10 against 11, it's going to be difficult for you to have that extra energy, especially with the quality that Galatasaray had gotten. You understand? Then, notwithstanding, not to indict him, but what's the name? Victor Osimhen not scoring in the first leg has been able to score in the second leg. So it just add a layer of difficulty to the job that Juventus needed to do to be able to qualify. So I am not surprised that they will not be able to qualify, because I have already called it for Galatasaray that they should be able to qualify. So I am not really surprised that Juventus has failed to qualify. But like rightly indicated, kudos to them, for them to have put in the fight. If Inter Milan had put in a quarter of the fight that Juventus has been able to put in right now, I am sure that it would have been true. Because there was just a 2-goal margin. So and playing, you see, if comparatively, if you compare Inter Milan and Juventus this season, Inter Milan has got much more firepower than Juventus. So for Juventus to be able, and you see, the funny thing is that Galatasaray is a bigger club compared to Bodo Glimt, and they've got much more firepower than Bodo Glimt. So for Juventus to have been able to do it against Galatasaray, get it 3 goals in the second half, the Inter Milan, if they had put up just a bit of the energy, the positiveness, the efficiency, and the fight that Juventus did put up against Galatasaray, they would have been able to attend the tide.
So it's all set for the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League. 8 teams have qualified automatically, waiting for the other 8 to also join them. And the 8 teams now, there's Atletico Madrid, they are through. There's Bayer Leverkusen through. There's Bodo Glimt at the expense of Inter Milan, shocking, but then they are also through. There's Newcastle United also through. There's Atalanta. So Atalanta remains the only rep from the Italian Serie A still playing, after Napoli also got knocked out in the group stages. There is Juventus also out, so Galatasaray also through to the next round. There's Real Madrid and then also Paris Saint-Germain. But then it doesn't end there, because the show just got started in the UEFA Champions League, and definitely after the draw, we'll be bringing to you all the latest as far as the round of 16 pairings is concerned. Thanks so much to the gentlemen who joined me in the studios today, Atiga Maoli Force, and then also Courage. My name is Josiah. Don't forget, just 3 easy things to do whenever you log on to Facebook, any social media platform at all, especially YouTube. All you have to do is to subscribe to the Our Media Sports channel, you like, and then you leave your comment. Which team do you think will be crowned champions of the UEFA Champions League this season? Bye.